All right, we got Brent Porcio, Kevin Schultz, Adam Garcia, Stephen Godini here at the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch and Tip Show, where you go to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and you can ask a question to any of us here, and we're going to answer it here on the show. So what's the question for today?
Abel Garcia asked, how long should you keep your throwing arm pinched back during the stride phase, and how long should you keep your hips closed during the stride phase?
Okay, I'll make it quick. The arm should stay loaded back all the way into front foot strike, but most importantly, the shoulders have to stay closed as well. We don't want early trunk rotation. Most of our arm problems will come from early trunk rotation. But the arm wants to stay back as long as it can, and the shoulders stay closed, so when we hit front foot, then we have time to properly load the arm. As far as the hips, the same thing. We want the hips to stay closed until the last minute so we can get more angular velocity, or it just, even though, there isn't really a correlation to the angular velocity of the hips to ball speed, but what happens is if we keep the hips closed long enough, is that when they do rotate at the end and they have a good amount of angular velocity, it's just easier for us to pull the hips and shoulders apart. That's why I like to keep them closed as long as possible. So what do you think, Kevin? Give us your opinion.
The arm timing is really a natural thing, and it's really hard to dictate that and affect it personally. I think that controlling the front shoulder and the front arm will help more with the back arm than just trying to do the back arm alone. And then if you find yourself with a bad timing issue where you think you're getting your arm going early or getting it up into the cocking phase early, then you can try to increase your stride speed and things like that to sync up the timing up top. Yeah.
What about you, Adam? What works for you? I mean, so I think the consensus here is obviously you want to keep the arm back as long as possible. What helps you keep your arm back while you're building your stride? Or keep your shoulders closed?
Well, one of the drills that's really been helping me do that was, like you were saying in the other video, the 3X bounce drill, or when you get in here and you do your hip to shoulder separation, when you really feel that hip open and you really pull that arm back and you cock it back, or even during the med ball separation throws, when you have your med ball and you pull that elbow back in order to pinch that, so that way you can load your arm when you open your hips up, so you can really keep a good loaded arm.
I think that's a good point, because Adam, he's never felt that before. So some of the drills here help you start to feel that, and that'll help you keep it back, because you're finally getting that scapular pinch. And I like to load down to up just so I get more scapular rotation and pinching that back, and I think that helps it hold back. But if you've always been a guy that's just trying to separate and stay in line and opening this early, then we've had tons of guys come in with problems like that. Bob Wheatley, personally, when he would go into front foot strike, he would want to open, and he was not good at pinching back, and then we taught him some counter rotation. He started to pinch back a little more, and he saw his velo jump a little bit.
Yeah, and Bob Wheatley is a good case. If you want to learn about Bob, go to the testimonials and watch his interview. But Bob, if he went up to the wall to do that little wall stretch where the wall's pushing on your elbow and you let it pull back, it wouldn't pull back. He didn't have a lot of good scapular mobility as far as it downwardly rotating. So his elbow would pull back into horizontal abduction. So he didn't have a lot of it. And, obviously he's going to work on getting more of that. But if you're a guy who can't really pull your elbow back, then you're going to have to be a guy that really makes a big emphasis on your shoulders going back. But you really put them together. You take the elbow and you first use that as a lever to pull to keep your shoulders closed. But at the same time too, the emphasis of the hips to the shoulders should be the first thing that you're focused on, is the timing of the hips coming through, and then making sure that there's separation, that they're pulling apart, and then use the elbow to leverage the shoulder. And I think that's the best approach going out. But like I said, if your guy doesn't have a lot of horizontal abduction, just being able to do it, then you're going to have make a bigger emphasis on the hip to shoulder aspects to get the separation that we're trying to get. Any input on it?
Yeah, just going back to the drills, with the separation throws, especially working on it. After this camp, you just see a lot of people when they throw, especially low velocity guys, they don't separate the hips from shoulders well. They're all used to going, like Kevin's saying, used to throwing together with the hips going at the same time as the arm. So in the drills, Kevin likes to do it a lot too, to get people to start feeling it. Is make sure we have our little plates that click to tell us when we drive, or what used to be listen to your foot drag. So you shouldn't start throwing until you've heard that plate click and you start driving, that hip starts going. You want to hold this back delayed as long as you can before the hips shoot all the way through, and then your arm goes to throw. So you really just want to delay that as long as possible, because even in high velocity pitchers, when you slow it down in the biomechanics, in the frame rates, they're holding this arm back longer than lower velocity pitchers.
Yeah, they're into more horizontal adduction, which is elbow behind the back. They're into later trunk rotation. And that creates two things. It creates a chance to multiply more forces from your stride power to accelerate your arm speed. And also, and as important as it gives your arm time now, it has time now to load and abduct and externally rotate, which is healthier for the arm. If not, if we don't have that good separation, we've got some early trunk rotation, and we don't have good horizontal abduction, then like Kevin said, you get into that early external rotation, the arm gets kind of drugged behind, and that's typically where all our arm problems come from. You know, the shoulder problems, the elbow problems come from not giving that arm time to load effectively. So it's really cool in this approach is that it's as much arm care as it's much injury prevention as it is velocity, because they really go hand in hand. Any other input on that?
Me personally, with the hip to shoulder separation, when I came in here for my camp in June, I was actually really struggling with that. And Brent was showing me in my videos that I wasn't really separating well. And when I actually started doing the drills and actually started to feel it, I realized that my velocity increased like 5 miles an hour, 88 to 93, and my arm never felt better. I mean, all of a sudden all the arm pain went away, or like the soreness that I would get in here, all of a sudden it would go away, just because the fact that when I'm throwing, I'm not coming together and using my arm, I'm actually sitting here and I'm
giving it time. And that's awesome, because I get that a lot from guys who come to the camps. That's the first thing that they say before they say, wow, I'm throwing harder. They say, I don't feel the pressure, I don't feel the soreness, I don't feel the pain on my arm as much, just because that's what's happening now. Now you're giving your arm more freedom, more time to load properly before you put all the speed into it. All right, so that was a really good question. So if you have a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at TopVelocity, hashtag pitching tips, ask your question, and we're going to answer it on the next episode.
Play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.